Hi, I'm Calvin.
And I'm Brendan, and today we're going to be talking about a photography and humanities blog we created called Humans of Palo Alto.
Before we get started, can we get a picture of you guys for our blog? Yeah? Yeah? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Or not. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right. All right. Now, I'd like to ask each of you to take a look to your left and to your right. And think about how each person you see has their own unique identity. Sure, some small details may overlap from person to person, but each individual has their own unique story. And as admins of Humans of Palo Alto, we go out and try to capture bits and pieces of that special story that each and every one of you possess.
All right, so we based Humans of Palo Alto off of the original and ever popular Humans of New York, which was created by Brandon Stanton in 2010. He originally aimed to catalog 10,000 New Yorkers with photographs, but along the way, his goals changed.
He started to talk to his subjects, and alongside their portraits included short stories or quotes from their lives. Humans of Palo Alto aims to mirror this. Humans of Palo Alto, or HOPA as we call it, wasn't something that really required too much thought. It was just another idea that you and your friends would come up with during late night conversations.
Yeah, so for example, a few years ago, my friends and I actually wanted to be the next Wong and make short films. And with Calvin, we even wanted to make a YouTube channel where we made acoustic covers of songs. Well, plans with that didn't exactly follow through. We moved on to Humans of Palo Alto. So at that point, we'd been fans of Humans of New York for about a few months, and I sent Calvin the page of Humans of Lowell High. I was like, this is pretty cool. They did a Humans of New York thing, but with Lowell.
Ooh, looks dope. You want to start it? And that's pretty much how we started HOPA. In the beginning stages of our page, we didn't really know how to go about approaching and interviewing people. We would literally walk up to someone from behind, tap them on the shoulder, and ask them to give us a deep life quote.
Yeah, so there are several things wrong with this. One is that you never approach a stranger from behind. In our experience, if you tap a stranger on the shoulder and they turn around like you just caught them with a bloody knife in their hands, it usually means that they don't want to share. You never want to scare your subjects, especially if you're going to ask them something like, what was the scariest moment of your life? In the interviews that we do now, we found that we got better material and better connections if we sat down and engaged in legitimate conversation with our subjects.
You know what, Brendan? We can spend all day telling them about interviewing people, but wouldn't it be better if we just showed them a live interview?
Sure.
All right, so who here would feel comfortable coming up on stage for a live interview? All right, raise your hands, raise your hands. Let's see. How about you right here in the front?
Okay, so how this is going to work is that Calvin is going to be the interviewer, our guest here is going to be the interviewee, and I am going to be the narrator and photographer.
Hi, I'm Calvin. I'm part of this blog called Humans of Palo Alto, and I was wondering if I could possibly take your photo and ask you a few questions.
Of course.
And first of all, what's your name?
Josh.
Okay, so our questions usually start off broad and comfortable, like the typical,
What little things in life make you the happiest?
I really like when I'm just walking down the hallway, like between classes or something, and people, wave at me or say hi or smile at me.
and this is where we ask them why they said what they said, and usually this is where the good part comes in. People's reasonings for their answers to these broad questions are the parts that get unique specifically to that person.
So Josh, why is it that little smiles and little hellos on the hallway make you the happiest?
Well, I mean, it's such a minute thing, but it's just so uplifting to see people being friendly to each other and to see people in a good mood and I guess just willing to share that good mood with random people that they happen to run into.
Wow, you're already nailing this interview. But I'm also curious as to see what might be your biggest fear in life.
I think my biggest fear in life would be that with the life that I was given, I won't, have made a difference in the world. Obviously not in some kind of major way because, well, that's highly unlikely, but I guess I've always been scared of not making any difference at all.
And just right now, if you could just go out and make a difference in the world right now, what change would it be?
I would make everybody happier. And I know it's not really feasible, but everybody deserves to be happy. That's what life should be about. Existing and being happy and content with your life and how you're living.
Wow, that's incredible.
I know.
Actually, hey, Brendan, do you have any questions for Josh?
Yeah. So, Josh, I was curious as to what inspired you to attain this outlook on life?
Oh, well, a couple of years ago, I watched a lot of people that I was very close with go through a lot of really terrible things. And it was just, it was kind of debilitating, not really for myself to go through that, but to watch the people you care about go through those things. And it really made me realize that, life should be about, like I said earlier, being happy. And nobody should have to I guess, suffer through the things that I've watched the people go through.
Wow, that was a great answer. Thank you, Josh, for coming on stage, and please give him a round of applause.
We created the blog in early 2014 and have since then, with the help of our team, amassed around 3,700 followers and interviewed at least 180 people. The stats here are a little outdated, so bear with me. By posting the stories of the people around us, we've been able to garner attention to the little details in our everyday lives. In our time as the photographers and interviewers of HOPA, we've come to realize that the simple and cliche motif of don't judge a book by its cover goes so much further than what one would usually expect. Instead of judging a book by its cover, we should all take the time to take the book, flip it open to a random chapter of its life, and take in what it has to offer. You see, most of you probably wouldn't do that. Probably wouldn't take the time to open up a book and skim through it. But one would be fascinated at what can lie within a metaphorical book cover.
Over this past year, we've encountered a variety of people, ranging from a little boy who was very knowledgeable about the current events happening in his home country to an elderly woman who wasn't very fond of our generation's dependency on technology. Yeah. So one of the most memorable stories we've come across was actually when I was walking around Stanford sometime last summer, and I ran into a group of 3 guys who were visiting from Australia. This one guy in particular was having a hard time with the questions. He seemed really shy and didn't have an answer to most of what we asked him. His friends actually called him the Jesus of the group since he didn't do anything too extravagant. So around 10 minutes into this conversation, I was beginning to believe that this guy was just really vanilla and lived a relatively uneventful life. But when we asked him what was his most embarrassing moment, his face lit up. He talked about how a few years ago, when he was doing long distance with his girlfriend in Los Angeles, how it was pretty difficult because there was very limited physical contact. So they would always send photos to each other. Yeah, those photos. So one day after a Skype call, she reminded him it was his turn to send the photos. So he went to the bathroom, took a few shots, and sent them over. When she didn't reply for a while, he checked back to see what was wrong. And he realized he sent it to her dad instead of her. Yeah. He spent the next few days worrying until he finally got a reply. And luckily, her dad had a sense of humor and replied back with, "Thanks for thinking of me. However, I prefer my women Brazilian." Yeah. So yeah, just like that, he opened a door into his life. He revealed to me one of the most embarrassing moments. And you realize at this point, despite the fact that most people differ in their appearance, opinions, and interests, We all share the same feelings of love, happiness, and vulnerability. Everyone has had experiences of losing a loved one, or being sad, or in Abe's case, accidentally sending something to the wrong person. In today's society, everyone is just so focused on aesthetics and how they outwardly present themselves. But true unification comes from within. So isn't that what we should be focusing on? We focus on what sets us apart instead of what brings us together. Our covers hide who we truly are, and despite having different experiences, I can guarantee that every one of you in here has felt the same emotions.
For me, I noticed the importance and value of going further than just a book's cover when I interviewed a robust man with a little dog one day at the Stanford Shopping Center. When I first noticed him, I'll admit, I was intimidated by his large physique. However, after passing by him a few times, I mustered up the courage and approached him. We ended up sitting at that bench next to Starbucks for over an hour talking about his life. In fact, I barely asked him any questions. I introduced myself, sat down, asked him about his dog, and just like that, he opened up his whole life story to me. When he was younger, his mother had really wanted a Siberian Husky and had her eye on one from the local adoption center. But by the time they got there, the Husky had already been adopted, and his mother started crying and started heading out the door. But as they were going, they saw Freeway, a golden retriever about to be put down. And his mother just couldn't stand seeing a dog be put down in front of her eyes. And just like that, they got a golden retriever for the next 20 years. After Freeway was adopted, my interviewee told me about how he was fascinated by the loyalty that the dog displayed towards his mother. He told me about all those long afternoons when Freeway would just run off in their large backyard and come back to his mother's side every single time. He told me about how his mother would be barbecuing out back and how Freeway would just lie there waiting for a chicken leg to accidentally fall onto the ground. He told me about how when all of the kids grew out of the house, Freeway stuck by his mother's side for the rest of his life. When I first noticed him, I just perceived him as just another man out there with a dog, and I never would have known that he had such a heartwarming story had I not approached him. Of course, this story is just as unique as any of the other stories on our blog, but it stands out as my favorite because it was at this point of my HOBA career that I truly realized the wonders that could be lay within a metaphorical book cover.
All right, so the next time you find yourself standing in line at the local Starbucks, sitting on the bus, or taking the BART, instead of staring at your phone, just take some time and strike up a conversation with the person next to you. It can be anything ranging from a simple, "Hi, I'm Brendan," to a compliment on their outfit.
Sure, they may seem like just another face in the crowd, but they may have something to say that just might make your day. You never know, and you never will unless you take that chance. You'll never get through a book if you just sit there and stare at its cover, so open it up, because we have. And the stories that we've been exposed to have definitely increased our awareness of the diverse world around us.
So in the end, I hope you guys enjoyed our video and talk. Thank you all for your attention, and thank you TEDxGunnHighSchool for having us.